Hello everyone, Jeff with the Green Review. This is the perfect hedge to demonstrate renewal pruning. Renewal pruning removes about 25% of the oldest stems each season so that we renew the plant and have only younger than 4-year-old stems. The reason we do that is because these plants flower better on the younger branches, and in this case red twig dogwoods have red stems. In the wintertime, the older stems coming up from the ground turn woody and lose their red color after they get a few years old. So we want to remove the oldest 25% to be replaced by the young red stems. The first step on the renewal pruning is to remove those oldest branches first. So we get rid of the large stems. The second step later is going to be shaping the plant. But first we're going to go in and take out the big old ones. Branches like these that have the old woody stems are not going to turn red, and so we want to take them out. Now this one's been pruned in the past. You can see a whole bunch of new growth has been coming up, and in 2 different years it has grown a lot, and so the plant is getting a little too tall for this spot as well, and so we're going to be doing some reducing in size after we take out these older branches. While you're doing this pruning, you want to look for dead branches that you can remove and damaged branches that you can remove. This one had a couple of things that have been bumped by people and broken over. You want to remove those or prune them back to the appropriate place. And then you want to look for disease. So dead, damaged, or diseased branches. This one has a canker disease, and so we want to remove this so that it's not going to infect the other branches. We don't want to leave gaping holes in the pruning of the removal of the old 25%. We have to be careful not to create big open areas that could be left that way. Unless there's a broken branch or some disease area where we specifically need to, we don't want to take those out. We will try to fix this whole area during the removal of the smaller branches and pruning back for size and shape. As you're pruning, look for weed trees. We found a couple of mulberry trees growing in this hedge. The leaves look almost the same color, and it's very hard to tell sometimes, but be discerning and prune out any weed trees that you might find. So now it's time to start shaping and sizing the plant. We want to cut back to a node, not to an internode. We don't want to be in the middle of the space between the leaves. We want to be all the way down to where the node is, and so there won't be any dead stuff decaying of that internode area not making it. So we pick our locations and we prune back to the height that we want and to the size and shape that we want. Individually on a hedge like this is the best way to do it, because there is such a big space on the internodes that if you take a hedge shears and electric or gas or just by hand and just prune through here, you will leave a lot of stubs, a lot of internode spaces sticking up, and it will look pretty poor. The larger the internode space, the harder it is to maintain as a hedge, but you can do it by hand. It takes a little longer, of course, but you're more accurate, and you can do the pruning right to the spot you want. And if you've missed one a little too high compared to the other ones, you can come back and cut it down. If you mess up with the shears, it's much harder to repair that kind of damage that you would do to the shape. It's much easier with a little hand pruner like this to cut the proper size and proper shape of the hedge that has long internodes. Something like a boxwood or a yew where the internodes are very, very close together, the shears work just fine. But on larger leafed plants and larger internode plants, the hedge shears leave a really ragged appearance when you do the shape in a sheared hedge. If you can do it a little bit looser, that's nice. If you need to make it tighter, it's probably better to choose a different plant, but it's still better to try to do the pruning with the hand pruner. We are finished with our renewal pruning of this red twig dogwood hedge. We've reduced the size so it's below the fence. We've reduced the sides so that it's within the bed that it was in, and we've taken out a bunch of interior trunks so that more sunlight can reach the interior for the smaller new growth to come up and survive, and so that there will be more wind blowing through, which will help the disease problem by reducing the amount of disease organisms that can survive in the moist interior by drying that area out. And that's all there is to renewal pruning. This is Jeff with a Green Review. Thanks for watching.